What is up, weather enthusiasts? I'm your host, Pat's Path Predictor. Let's get right into the weather. Alright, so this is the situation we have right here. We have a very serious, potentially bad tornado outbreak that is coming tomorrow. We have two moderate risks issued. The first moderate risk is issued for parts of Iowa and Illinois, including the Quad Cities over here. And the second one is issued from the Boot Heel of Missouri down to the Mississippi River, including areas like Memphis and Jackson in Tennessee. So definitely also for Jonesboro, Arkansas. So this is definitely a very serious situation. We have our enhanced risk that is still from Iowa all the way down to Mississippi. A slight risk around that, moderate risk around that. Basically, what we're looking at a potential severe weather that is going to be affecting, let's see, that's 50 million, almost 70 million people, ladies and gentlemen. We're looking at potentially 70 million people being affected by all the severe weather that's going to be happening tomorrow. So we're going to go ahead and show you what's going on. First, the tornado risk. They issued a 10 hatched risk for parts of Iowa and parts of Illinois right here, including Peoria, Hannibal, and Springfield. But the big story is the 15% hatched in parts of the Deep South, including Jackson, Memphis, all those areas. That was actually kind of unexpected. I expected more of the threat to be in parts of Iowa and Illinois, but I guess they found some more models down there that showed that stuff, and we'll show you that in a second. The wind threat, though, that's where it makes up for it. That's why they issued the moderate up in Iowa and Illinois. The moderate risk is 45% hatched, which means there's a 45% probability of gusts up to 75 miles per hour or greater within 25 miles of a point. And hail, it's a 10% risk, 15% risk all around, hatched in parts of Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois. So hail is actually the least amount of threat. The biggest threats are the tornado and wind threats. So that's why they issued the moderate risks right there. So let's go ahead and take a look at the summary, guys. Quote, intense, widespread, severe thunderstorms are expected Friday afternoon into the overnight hours across portions of the middle Mississippi Valley and mid-south vicinity, eastward into the lower Ohio and Tennessee valleys. Intense, damaging gusts and several tornadoes, some strong and long-tracked, are expected. A bimodal regional outbreak of severe storms is expected for Friday from the mid-Mississippi Valley into the mid-South. So yes, we're looking at, once again, very serious situation going on. Now we're going to go ahead and show you some of the timing of this. The HRRR is finally all the way out, so we can finally show you what's going on with it. There's actually going to be a few storms that are going to be initiating in the morning, in the overnight on Friday. Now, there is some debate if this is going to affect the risk or not at all, but I think if the skies clear up right after that, considering this will be over in a lot of the areas by like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, if the sky clears up by then, we start seeing more heating, the sun starts impacting it, we could see a revamp from all of this. So definitely pay attention to that. I will say if it is overcast and more cloudy, then we'll have less of a chance of that, but we'll have to keep an eye on it. But supercell initiation potentially starts developing in Iowa around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, as well as in parts of the Deep South, and it starts to just keep going right there. It starts developing. St. Louis, it's a little close to call right now, if they're going to get hit by anything. I think the southern metro is going to absolutely get hit. The question is it going to be far enough north for that to happen? And that's the big thing we're looking at. That's why they didn't issue a moderate risk for that area right there just yet. It's just the models are it's just too early to call. But once again, this eventually develops into a squall line, potentially two of them right here. The southern part affects basically from Arkansas, including Jonesboro, all the way to Indiana. The second one, parts of Wisconsin, all the way down to the Chicago area. So definitely what we're looking at is rather out of the ordinary right here, and we'll have to keep an eye on it for you. What we're going to go ahead and show you next is some of the tornado parameters, supercell composite right here. This is the supercell composite. The HRRR, it hasn't really backed off as much as it was. We're still seeing values like 16 around the Boot Heel of Missouri, 17 in 18 parts of Arkansas, but it does look like the main tornado threat is looking like it's going to be more in the Deep South rather than Iowa and Illinois. But that can change at any time, and we'll keep you updated with that. Next thing we're going to go ahead and show you is the significant tornado parameter. The HRRR is still doubling down on that, although it's not nearly as much as it was the 0Z in St. Louis. Let me show you the 0Z with this. The 0Z really had this doubling down in parts of St. Louis, parts of Chicago, parts of Wisconsin, all these areas. This is the 12Z we're at right now. Boom. I mean, it's still there. It's still kind of doubling down in some of these areas, but it's not nearly as much as St. Louis, and the tornado threat is pushed further to the south. So we'll have to keep an eye on it real quickly. What we have now is some soundings for you to take a look at. First sounding we have is in southeast Iowa. Cape's at over 2,800 joules per kilogram. SRH is 2 to 300. That's really good for tornado development right there, as well as some potential hail. The shear is absolutely there. We're looking at 32 knots at 1 kilometer, 52 knots at 3 kilometers, 80 knots at 6 kilometers. That's going to enhance supercell development, and if that shear gets a little bit more directional, that'll give you a better chance of tornado development right there. Next thing we're going to go ahead and take a look at is this one. This is in around St. Louis, just north of Madison County and Montgomery County, actually. This is what we have right here. SRH 275 to 300, so very good right there. The Cape's over 2,000. We've seen models uptick with the Cape in a lot of these areas over the last few days. 33 knots, 57 knots, and 95 knots. 95 knots at 6 kilometers. That is absolutely going to enhance supercell development if it fires up that north. It's just too close to call to determine what's going on. We have veering with height, and we do have a little bit more directional shear as well. So definitely something we need to continue to monitor. Last sounding we have for you, this is in parts of the deep south in Arkansas where the Cape isn't going to be that much of a factor anymore, but the shear absolutely is. We're looking at 14 to 1,500 Cape right here, but look at this directional shear right here. Look at that. That is absolutely nuts right there. The surface to 1 kilometer, the SRH values are absolutely insane. We're cracking 600 at 3 kilometers. We're at 38 knots at 1 kilometer, 61 knots at 3 kilometers. That is going to enhance tornado development right there. And 60 knots at 6 kilometers, that's going to enhance supercell development right there. So, yeah. In my personal opinion on all of this, that we're looking at even if this thing does bust and we don't see that much of a tornado threat, this is still going to be a very serious wind threat. So everyone needs to pay attention to this. And if you're watching this and you made it this far, please share this video to anyone you know that lives in the potentially affected areas. There's going to be 70 million people potentially affected with severe weather tomorrow, and I want every one of those people to be updated. But with that being said, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. It helps me out and helps me make more videos like these. The goal of this channel is to get more people engaged with weather. But with that being said, have a wonderful day, guys. Stay safe.